Good afternoon, leaders, and welcome to CXO Roundtable. Topic of today's discussion is Reimagining Manufacturing Transformation with Cloud, hosted by Alden Global and powered by Wipro and Google Cloud. I am Priyanka Jain from Team Alden Global Value Advisors. I welcome all of you at today's discussion. I'm pleased to welcome moderator Mr. Gopi Thangewal, Vice President IT and Head of Infrastructure, Projects and Security Operations from Reliance Industries. Gopi is an astute professional with 20 years of indigenous experience in IT management and IT infrastructure, service delivery, security and risk management, architect and project management. He has worked across multiple sectors such as shared services, logistics, ITNS BPO, ISP, banking and finance and development. He was previously with Dr. Reddy's Laboratory as director and Wipro Limited as head technologies. A keen planner, strategist, and implementer with demonstrated abilities in IT. Gopi is passionate about technology and cybersecurity. His second passion is to travel. Now I welcome Gopi to take over this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka, and thank you, everyone. Same time, when you look at the depth of it and impact of it, it is very much important. I remember the MIT slogan. It's mentioned very nicely. If you've done the digital transformation in the right way, it is like a caterpillar transforming into butterfly. If you do it in a wrong way, it just you are creating a faster caterpillar. That's it. So it's up to the each individual company what they want to take it out. So I believe we are all looking for caterpillar to butterfly movements. So they can start presenting it, then we can continue that. I believe Anshu. And over to you, Anshu.
Thank you, Gopi. You're so right about the word digital transformation and about the various ways of doing it. I just want to reflect upon few things related to the agenda today. Just as a quick background, I look after the cloud business for Wipro in APMEA region. I'm based in Sydney, by the way. My teams are based across the region. So today, welcoming all of you, on behalf of Wipro and the Google team together. And this is more about we having a discussion, understanding, and coming together from the industry leadership, how all of you are kind of tackling it, what are the challenges, imperatives, and I think the pandemic has just made it things much faster, Gopi, on that particular point. So whatever would or could have been done in the 5 to 6 year time is getting compressed into 18 months of time. So I think everyone has got a lot of excitement and set of challenges also. So I do want to just reflect upon a few key points over there. One, I would want to reflect upon Wipro Full Stride program, which has been recently launched, and we are working with in very close collaboration with Google. And what this is bringing to the table and to our customers, to our partner ecosystems, is a significant amount of capability. We investing significant in the talent management and talent building. That's become one of the core set of challenges for any industry right now, including IT. Now we are doing a full stack set of capabilities which is spanning across applications, infrastructure, security, and data. So it's not just about bringing an aspect or a component of a cloud. I think it's building all of that together and bring it to common. It's also about customer journey mapping. Every customer in different industries consuming the solutions, the product capabilities in a very different way. And I think that is where the digital transformation is significantly very key in reimagining how consumers adopt the products and technologies in very different way, and that's changing very rapidly, especially with the generation changing on as well. We are investing significantly in terms of the money which Wipro is committed on this full stride capabilities. That is to develop solutions, like I said, talent, our partner ecosystem, and also acquisitions, which we have already started doing from that point of view. I think this is all going to bring in and develop a very significant partner ecosystem around developing in cloud, because that's how we see the IT world changing and supporting various different industries as such. From a manufacturing point of view, we talked about in the initial, as a brief introduction, about how the top line value drivers, which is mostly about enhancing the customer and channel experience, that's enhancing, and that's how the manufacturing companies, organizations are wanting to differentiate among themselves by having very different digitized channels and bringing in maybe after sales services as well, which is becoming a core differentiator for very much of the products and services. The other aspect is the bottom line in terms of reducing the cost and improving the operation, especially when it comes to smart and digital operations in the factory operations part of it. The cost reduction happens through the use of IoT, AI, ML, and completely digitizing the operations and managing the equipment in the factories across, bringing and to support a digital supply chain. And I think that's where, if you see and hear a lot of articles every day, the supply chain worldwide has got significantly disrupted because of the whole pandemic, the shipping lines, availability of whether containers shipping the products one or the other places, and that's how we are seeing very different demands in the industry. And if we look at how the next generation of solutions would be able to help in this bringing solutions around the disruption of the supply chain and making sure that the workforce across the globe is getting connected in a very different way and enhance the productivity, which then leads to a very different experience for the consumers themselves. Wipro is kind of committed to build solutions, not just saying that looking in a very small siloed based approach. It's a holistic approach to this whole digital journey, which we are working with our partner Google to leverage these solutions, not just from a cloud, but AI, ML, analytics, etc. All of that bringing together and then driving. I'll give an example. We have been working with Google for a customer called eSilicon. It's one of the semiconductor organization, one of the very first few to significantly adopt the Google Cloud and base out their operations on that technology. It's a San Jose-based, Silicon Valley-based manufacturing company, and I think in the semiconductor world, the way it worked for them in terms of the chip designing and then manufacturing, and the customers having challenges in terms of canceling orders and also going through a significant rework on the design patterns. So that was the key customer or the challenge faced by the industry and eSilicon themselves. And being the newbie in the organization in that part of the world, they couldn't afford to significantly invest in the manufacturing lines again and again. And that's how they ended up migrating a significant amount of their data and their systems onto Google Cloud, so that they were able to get the elasticity of at least 2 to 3 times when developing their the new chipsets, and turn around in the market the product at least few months better than their competition. And I think today, in the last 18 months, if you see how the semiconductor markets have changed very rapidly, they have been able to cope up with this kind of a change, given that they had already adopted being on the cloud completely and not be on the legacy environment. So it's just an example of how different industries are adopting this and building further the solutions in cloud by using the available technologies. And when eSilicon selected Wipro, they wanted a partner who's very strategic to Google, knows the solution, is building talent on that technology, because they wanted to enhance their solution capabilities by more and more new features and technologies coming on through the Google Cloud. We are working very closely with many of the other industries, and there's a big learning which we find. For example, in Saudi Aramco, an oil and gas, one of the world's largest oil and gas organization, we are looking at from an IoT perspective as to how the solutions can come in to enhance the capability and bring in operational efficiencies, actually. So I wanted to give a little visibility. Gopi, you've got the topics today for the conversation, but I'm hoping this narration kind of helps bring in some thought process from all of you, and very similar journey which you all have taken in your organizations, or what you see in the industry. I think it will be a good experience for all of us to learn from each other and see how you all are as leaders tackling the current set of challenges in the industry. So I will not spend too much time in me just talking about it. Gopi, back to you. Ashish, if you want to reflect very quickly, as well. Otherwise, we can get on with it. So thank you, everyone, and welcome today for the conversation. Looking forward to the discussion today.
I think that's a good context, Anshul. Thanks for that. At Wipro, we are known to deliver the business outcomes, right? I think I open the forum, Gopi, let's open the forum, let's hear from the leaders and see how we can discuss further.
Great. Thank you, Anshul and Ashish, for the insight of it. I think you try to cover almost all the industry, I believe. So, with just short span of time, you try to do that as much possible. Thanks for that. We can start our roundtable. So the roundtable, my humble request is try to make a point and try to make short and crisp, so everyone got an opportunity to express it. So let's start with that. So in case if anyone want to, feel free to interrupt, don't worry. Just you can say that you want to make a certain points, please do that. Don't worry about it, because all our industry leaders, and it is important to give input. It will benefit everyone. So feel free then. So I can start with the first questions. So which is what are the imperatives for you in your digital transformation journey? This is one of the question has been picked by everyone. So it is important to understand from the industry leaders, specifically, the digital transformation journey. So I like to start with Mr. Deepak. Are you there?
Yeah, hi, I'm there. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be on this forum.
Yeah, Mr. Deepak. So what is your view on that, the overall, what is your imperative for you and in your digital transformation journey?
Sure. Just to set the context of the imperatives, I thought I'll just spend some time in terms of really defining what do you mean by a digital organization? And to me, it is an organization which constantly evaluates, constantly scans technologies, evolving technologies, and tries to get them within the DNA to really keep the company in a transformative mode, which could be in the areas of customer experiences or enormous efficiencies in your operations, or what I would say, creating digital products which augment or which supplement your traditional offerings. And I guess a lot of companies who would have certainly realized of the pandemic that what was good to have has certainly become very hygiene for transformation. And I when I hear a lot of CIOs, they seem to be in a state where they do not know where to start, and that's where the Wipro, Googles of the world are really engaging with a lot of customers to set up the digital strategy. From an Asian Paints point of view, we've been on this digital journey for many years now, so because we have been on this journey, we have sort of been insulated from any disruptions like Corona, and we've been able to still march ahead and in fact make good progress during tough times. But coming to your question of what is it that are the imperatives? One is from a mindset. I think people talk about industry 4.2 and all. I think that's all needs to go away. People need to talk about industry 10x, because that is the type of opportunities which are there today, and that is the type of pace and velocity with which we need to move. And to do this, I feel there are 4 critical imperatives which I'm talking from experience. One is get your leadership really energized, inspired of what digital can do to their KPIs, to their functions, to the business. They need to be brought in, and it needs to start from there. Second is go to every function, ask them to reimagine the way they are doing their work. You could go back for like the sales and marketing guys need to look at the 4 P's, that is price, product, place, and look at how digital can actually impact them, deliver better, faster, easier, and help better conversion. The manufacturing people will have a different way of reimagining. So reimagine, because it's a good time to really reimagine and set up a vision which can actually take you ahead. The third would be in terms of how do you prepare for this change, because that's so critical. You can have the best technologies in the world, but if the organizational culture is not in place, then I think it is going to eat you for breakfast. So all your strategies will be eaten for breakfast in that sense. So I think the fourth imperative in terms of preparing your organization culturally for this, in terms of how do you skill them, how to get the element of curiosity or the culture of curiosity, so that they start looking at constantly renovating, constantly reimagining, constantly adding value and transforming themselves. And the fourth one for me is having a very strong metrics in place in terms of measuring how much are you moving. And today, with so much of digital impacting business processes, and that's the way we are doing it in Asian Paints. We are now attributing what is it that digital can bring in terms of additional revenues, in terms of additional efficiencies. We are actually, the IT folks are taking targets in terms of incremental revenues, in terms of cost saving across the year, across functions. So you need to have very strong matrices which are constantly going to govern in this entire transformation journey. Sorry, Gopi, I would have taken a few minutes extra, but I'm so sorry about that.
Deepak, it's worth it actually. Thank you for that. So, what is the takeaway? Whatever you said, we are able to analyze that. It's a buying, business buying, top to down approach, reimaginations, and overall whatever the things we are trying.
The change and culture part of it, and then having very strong metrics which will help you constantly measure your progress and constantly help you recalibrating your journey.
But anyway, I like to ask that same question to even Manisha and Anshul and Ashish also. You're able to help on the digital journey, we all understand that. But in cultural way, is there anything you guys can think about it? Like organization having a cultural practice, and that's how it works. But you have any thought process or input on that? You feel free to add that, Manisha and Anshul.
Yeah, sure. I think I was smiling when Deepak was talking about it. I mean, it seems like they've cracked the code of cloud adoption already. And I think at Google, we define this whole cultural shift as cloud adoption framework. And we have, of course, we have 3 tenets to it: people, process, and technology. But we capture the 4, I think imperatives that Deepak spoke about into 4 themes. We call it learn, lead, and it's basically, for learn is all about reskilling your enterprise, right? So your operations team who are living in a completely on-premise disconnected world, so how do you make sure they understand the new architectures, new networks, new way of managing your site reliability and stuff like that, right? So that's the learn part of it. The second part is lead, which again Deepak spoke about. How much is your leadership invested into that? It has to come from top down. And I think that's where we also talk about this cross-functional collaboration. Because I think the key technical challenge that we have, specifically in manufacturing, because this being a, probably a legacy, age-old industry, is that there's a lot of data sitting in siloed fashion in different departments, right? And that is really the power that we have today. So unless the leadership defines that cross-functional collaboration culture within the organization, this cultural shift cannot happen. The third thing is about, scale. So scale is about how mature are your services, your processes, your applications, how much of that those workloads have already moved to cloud, and how much is the gap, how many more can go, right? And again, that is a derivative of where all your data is sitting. How can the different functions cross leverage that data and benefit from that? And that will sort of define what workloads you need to move to the cloud, right? And finally, it's about transform. Basically, are you ready for that big bang, transformation? So really, this learn, lead, scale, and transform are really, those 4 themes that we recommend our customers to follow, to achieve this cultural shift. Ashish.
Gopi, Ashish here. Based on what we have seen our cloud leaders doing, they also engage the senior leaders to drive cloud initiatives, right? But that's the key. You need to have buy-in right at the top. They build up a roadmap, right? They also build up an enterprise-wide strategy, right? So they have a complete uniformity in how it's getting deployed across the enterprise. They also prioritize use cases that can be onboarded onto cloud. Prioritization is key. As Deepak spoke about customer experience, store experience, industry 10x. He's also talking 4x or 10x. Industry 10x, right? Those use cases have to be prioritized based on ROI, and they have to be first onboarded onto the cloud. Second thing, Manisha also spoke about cross-skilling people, right? People have to be cross-skilled, right? Cloud is a new world, right? DevOps is a new world. Cybersecurity becomes a key element. The training people, reskilling people is also the key element to drive cloud adoption within the company. Anshul, want to add anything to it?
Specific to the cultural, Anshul?
I'll be very swift on that. It's a very big topic, Gopi. Most of the organizations, whether it's in oil and gas, other industries, even manufacturing, Manisha did refer to. There's a lot of legacy because this has been one of the few industries which have been there for since Industrial Revolution, and it's been driving the products and technologies. And we are very the change in the manufacturing industry comes very slow because the operational efficiency is has to be maintained to ensure that the products are at the right price point and the competition is stiff. It is all about the people reskilling themselves. We will talk about it. It's also about the mindset. So Wipro does have a capability, works with our partners like Google and other ecosystems to bring in that capability to help client employees take up these learning curriculums. Wipro, as an example, 200,000 of our employees have been going through a digital transformation agenda, including, at all levels, myself and, every junior most employee, everyone, so that everyone has an appreciation in our industry as to what this is all about. It's even I had to go through a complete reskilling of ourselves and think differently and speak differently to our clients, actually, and be in their shoes to understand what, as consumers, their products will get consumed for. So that's the practice of change management, which we bring along with the tools and technologies to help and launch these, actually. So it's a very big topic, Gopi, so I don't want to take too much of people's time as such, but absolutely the right aspect, which is beyond just technology. Thanks, Deepak and Gopi, for bringing it up.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Mr. Manish, your views on this?
Okay. So Gopi, definitely the cloud. What I say, like imperative. It's not an imperative things nowadays. Nowadays, it is the demand of the organization, right? So everything depends upon the customer demand and how fast you can meet that demand, right? So if I think like before 5 years or 10 years, when we have to start a launch application, we have to plan for like 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 12 years, right? So nowadays the benefit of cloud, and then the importance of cloud is like readiness of the things you have. We started with the IaaS, PaaS, and now I talk about the SaaS. So even if you go to the any service provider, any OEM, they are providing the services. Most of the service provider, they have started providing the services in the SaaS model, right? So the important thing for any leader, any organization, is how fast you can make the decision and how fast you can execute the thing also, and that how fast you can grow the application or whatever you are launching. So in the cloud, you are getting that benefit, the benefit of growth, benefit to start, and definitely you can start with the small also, right? And then you can grow with large. If you are failure, at least you are failing fast with a less impact of the cost. So this is these are the key, like I say, benefit for the cloud. Okay, and the important thing for the cloud is how fast you can move your services and launch your services.
Excellent. Thanks, Manish. So two critical points. It's a takeaway. One is fail fast, grow fast. Both you need this. So excellent one. So Mr. Anand, you would like to add something on this?
No, I think having said so far so much, in my mind, what comes up is that this is basically a journey. It doesn't just happen with a flip of a button. So you have to really have a rightly planned roadmap, and then you have to have the meticulous execution to get that implemented further. Because if I look back on our experience, simple things like a migration to G Suite, okay, wherein you change a plethora of applications and get into a new way of working, it started back with Whirlpool probably 6-7 years back. Say that like, okay, fine, now, I mean, everybody's got the power in their hand so that they are not really dependent anymore on any documentation to be available on a storage which is to be accessed from the office only person. So it's kind of evolution that it takes its time. There are people that come up with resistances. There are reasons to believe that certain things doesn't get taken care of with one way or other. But then one is that you have to have the direction, and then second is a meticulous execution on those lines.
Excellent. Thanks. Thank you. So I like to ask one thing, slightly different than what we discussed. To Sunil sir, being a CFO, I'm asking you two different weightage in your area. One is the organization cultural level, which is you are able to see that, more than technology people. Another one is you cannot stop the growth of the company, which is digital transformation, which is, again, the company have to adopt finance, HR, admin, IT, everybody have to adopt, operations have to adopt, but finally everything is coming into finance in a way. So because everybody will come to you for budgeting and return of investment and overall everything. So it's a two different thing. What is your view on this overall digital transformation journey and the weightage of all these things together? Please.
So good afternoon, everyone. So I'll just share my experience that in today's scenario, like wherever transformation comes, that becomes like CFO becomes sponsor of this transformation. So he ultimately comes into picture whenever transformation comes. But what challenge we generally face, like typically in manufacturing is more challenge we face. Maybe other industry also having different kind of challenges. But one is like as a role of CFO, obviously he has to take that kind of ownership to improve their top line, bottom line, to safeguard assets. But a lot of things, expectation from the organization is that he should be aware about everything from the operation side, like how this exception thing is going into business, which can impact to the business performance. So, but the point is when we typically what face from our side is like when we talk about more into digitalization, in manufacturing, one thing comes, how is the ROI for investment? That is another challenge which comes. Because it is very difficult to say what kind of ROI can this investment can give. From CFO angle, obviously it is very beneficial in terms of the long-term sustainability for the safeguard from the absolution from the business side to take the advantage of competitors. So many benefits is there, but it's difficult to measure that way. So as a CFO, when we drive, we face two challenges. One is from the, like in India, a lot of industries, promoter-driven industries. And in these industries, first, we have to make that mindset completely aligned, that how this will be helpful. And obviously the typically manufacturing people mindset to change what they are doing for many years is a very, very difficult task. So the point is how to make this part is just to make benefit out of that what we can get, how we can visualize the thing, because one first things comes that we start visualizing the things. Like as I said, when we say the operational efficiency, we tried, okay, what kind of exception things happen in any function, say, for example. So we'll try to make with the digitalization. Sir, you can click of button, you can see that what is happening in operation. So that gives motivation to the people. So the point is to align this part is a lot of things is required, not just a mindset of CFO side. It is a alignment with the whole business. And in OEM, typically there are few areas which is very, very dynamic today. As we said, like one is the supply chain part. It is not possible at all in today's scenario if we are not aligning our all partner, like our vendor in the same portal, our dealer side from the networking side. So these all things is part of this overall digitalization, where I think in today's scenario is not possible at all. But the point is, most difficult task is the culture change, what we feel. So that is not so easy. Again, it's a journey, as Anand also said, it's a journey. It is not easily possible for anybody to align this part. Like every challenge is different. It's difficult to be even list down the challenges. So that is my experience. But obviously today, because of a lot of competition, whatever business is there, you have to adopt this part. But as a leading position, if you take, advantage will be there, obviously. So
Excellent.
that's my experience I have worked in most of the manufacturing industry only, but the cultural change is almost same in everywhere.
Excellent. Thank you, Sunil sir. It is wonderful, and you made it clear. It's not just one industry; it's everywhere. So thank you, sir. And Mr. Arvind.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir. Please, your view, sir.
See, I think a lot has been added. Now, if I talk about experiences, just to give a snapshot, see, we started our journey around 3.5 years, 4 years back. And at that point of time, it was zero cloud and 100% everything on-prem. And rather, I think the kickstart was we started with Office 365 as a first a step towards our cloud journey. And then I think if I look 3.5 years back and today, we haven't seen no back that a lot of applications, a lot of stuff has already gone on the cloud, and our strategy says now cloud alone. Now, experience, there will be a lot of experience, but I think the three fundamental things which we need to keep in mind and which has really given us those three main KPIs. We talk about scalability or being a lot of agility is there and flexibility. So the flexibility is something which is very means I can take it as a KPI which is around 80% of all these metrics, because if you need something at a click of a button, you get that. And see, the market is so dynamic, and if you look after pandemic, things have changed so drastically. So there's the market, the time to market has become huge, and I think that's cloud is going to bring these things. They are going to narrow down all these gaps which were there earlier. Okay. So few things which I want to talk about. I think those have already been spoken about. But if I talk about the best practice point of from the cloud perspective, so I think nowadays earlier it was if you are stuck to one cloud provider, then you need to be with that provider. But I think you need to adopt a hybrid. That's the way forward. You actually need to know what needs to go on cloud and what there are still something which should be on prem. I still support that everything should not go on cloud. You need to evaluate, you need to see the pros and cons. Because there's few applications which should be on the cloud, and there are few applications which actually should be on prem. And then hybrid is the way. So down the line, I think we should see how we can leverage hybrid down the line. I think there are a lot of discussions which are going on, but that's the way forward. That's I want to say is these are the quick things. I think rest everyone is catching a lot of things here.
Thanks. Thank you, Arvind sir. And you made a critical point. It's not just everything is big bang approach. It is a hybrid model also very much important. Hybrid is very important. Thanks for that. Mr. Ravi Kiran, your view, sir.
Yeah. I can hear you, Gopi. Limestone mines. That was I was afraid whether I'm able to connect.
Yes, sir.
As of now, network is okay. If you ask me, the highest priority is integrating our IT with operational technology. Because whatever we speak in meeting rooms, whatever we hear from this presentation, if it really doesn't impact or it will not improve productivity, quality, and whatever from operation point of view, there is no meaning of all this digitization, digitalization. So because my entire experience is mostly manufacturing experience, you prepare a good case study and go to operation guys and say that let us do it. So outright, it would be denied because first of all they don't understand what is this. What I'm saying first, the highest priority for us is integrating our IT with the OT part, because as I said, from operations point of view, operation technology point of view, for them availability is the highest priority. But from our IT side, we will say, we need a company that availability comes in our part. But these guys, that is the first. Second thing is their life cycle is very high. The machinery life cycle is very high. For example, if you buy any machineries in plant, at least 20 to 40, 25 to 40 years, at least machinery to be there. And anything which you can change in between 25 to 40 years, again, it will take some time. And they're not really connected to our IT network. So we need to integrate concerns and build with operation technology, take some systems and priority as part of our digitalization journey, which are low hanging fruits. Show them that some improvement, quality improvement, productivity, quality and all. Then just go to the next step again, stabilize for some time. Then see the classic example is we are developing an application. Today we have from a Delhi, we have traveled here to a place called Haripatni. We want to test whether our application will work here or not. So
Understood.
that is the difficulties we face. Otherwise, you develop an application, don't it out, it doesn't work.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Ravi. And if I like to summary what Ravi mentioned, is it he's talking about, please, availability is important. I can add little additional point to Ravi also. Acceptable performance of availability is very much important. I believe that's what you're trying to communicate. So that's why we need such a technology in place, and which will help us. And 40-year-old technologies are still exist, and we cannot just abandon that, because that's how the business operate. And we have to balance it out with the existing old legacy as well as the new technology, how we are bridging it and bring it to the power, enabling both. I believe that is what Ravi Kiran's one single point in a way. He elaborated with the example. So now back to Mr. Rajesh sir. So your views, sir, please.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone, and it is very nice to have the views of the team here. I would say team because we are from the same community. So, just to add to the last persons who had spoken, that see the transformation, digital transformation. What are the imperatives on my side is that you should take this to the approving person or to the CFO, that what is going to be transformed. You should be ready with those answers before you go to the approvals for that. So these transformations are the intangible or tangible benefits which are going to be there, and sometimes it becomes the IT projects only, right? So before that, I would say that you should be ready with the intangible benefits. What the digital transformation is going to bring to the organization. Intangible transformations, probably these would be good, but the tangible transformations are the points wherein you go to the CFO and you really touch the bottom line on those parts. So this is one of the thing. And as the previous speakers told, that the agility, that we can start with the small and go to the big. I would say that this is one of the part. And then looking the today's scenario where the pandemic is there, that critical resources are required to maintain all those things. And once you go for the cloud journey, you have the partners who can manage your things in a better way, rather than to have the key resources which are there required to run these. So this is these are the two imperatives which I would say that are important from my point of view in this. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Rajesh sir. It's a very straightforward view. It's nice. Okay, so Manisha, Ashish, and Anshul, you hear that?
So, Gopi, Ashish, if you look at what others have spoken, I think there are two distinct patterns have emerged. Right? First is around your TCO reduction. Sunil spoke about how can I measure the ROI better. Right? If you have a hardware coming to end of life, rather than buying hardware new, can I move to cloud? By doing that, I convert my capex to OpEx. Right? But the more impactful pattern is around innovation play, which everyone spoke about, where we can build a digital transformation roadmap as a cloud-first approach. Right? Deepak spoke about industry 10x. He spoke about customer experience. Then we have Manish spoke about improved time to market. Right? Then Ravi spoke about IT/OT integration. Right? Arvind spoke about flexibility in these resources. I think this is for all these use cases. Cloud is a app platform because it gives you a vast range of.
Sorry, Ashish, there is one quick point which is Rajesh sir mentioned. It is very important to highlight that.
Okay.
See, tangible, intangible ideas. For example, we faced in a practical life. Simple example is I want to implement Azure Active Directory for entire organization. What is it for the CFO? The CFO will say, you have Active Directory or not, what is it meaning for us, organization? So now even we are cloud technology, maybe I am passionate about cloud technologies, but it doesn't mean organization buying that. As a CIO or COO, CFO or CTO, when they are going to get an approval for such a things, how you can measure that? How we can convey that intangible items to business language. So is there any input for that? Then Ashish, if you could add that, previously you mentioned the cultural change also, how we can help you out. Like Manisha and Anshul talk about cultural also, we can help you out, not just a technology portion. The similar way, when you talk about intangible value, how we can add that value? Correct, Rajesh sir, if anything I'm missing, please add that.
No, you had put it very right way, right?
So typically, Gopi, what we are seeing in the market is that the industry leaders are adopting. They build up a clear ROI prioritization framework. They list all the use cases, right? What are more impactful, and they measure based on the quantified incremental revenue that the use case may drive, right? They measure on that, and where we have more incremental impact coming, that's what the use cases they take it to the cloud first, right? And involvement of business becomes critical here because they are the people who define what should be the ROI coming, right? To take an example, differentiated customer experience is becoming key. Omnichannel is a reality. You will have data in multiple places, right? Cloud is the only platform we can bring data from multiple places and do some kind of analysis on that. Right? If you do plant analytics, right, you have multiple plants across India, right? How do you measure performance of a plant equipment and benchmark it across India, across all plants, right? Cloud is the only platform because you have to bring your data from a control system by OPC to cloud across all plants, then do benchmarking. So ROI prioritization framework becomes key. Involvement of business is also critical, essential need here.
And just to add to that, I think we don't have to really depend. I mean, while I think we have partners like Wipro and ourselves at Google, where you will have the best practices that Google has leveraged. For example, see, Google was one of those earliest companies who took a cloud first approach, right? Everything we do at Google has been on public cloud for multiple decades now. So the good thing is that while we transfer all those best practices, and you talk about culture, you talk about those lessons learned that we have learned by managing those billion user plus product, whether that's Gmail or YouTube or Maps or whatever that is, we transfer all those to our customers. We also have technical tools available to help you do that, right? So I'm sure most of you would have been exposed to tools like Stratozone, right, where we look at your entire IT landscape, and that automatically does an assessment of how your IT landscape is today, how you can probably cluster the workloads which can be potentially migrated to the cloud first, and it gives you a very detailed report of total cost of ownership. Then we can run a business value assessment on top of it and can give you a clear ROI. So my point is, it's not just verbally that we communicate that, or a human being has to do it. It's a technical tool which is available, which will make that ROI available to you.
And Gopi, to add to Manisha saying, we have a strong consulting offering in Wipro. Right? Before you do a cloud migration journey, you do an entire application portfolio assessment. Right? Not everything should move to cloud. Some can be retired, some can be rehosted, some can be platform. We do a complete application assessment before we onboard onto a cloud journey. And consulting offering is a strong offering that we have.
Excellent. Anshul sir?
I think the folks have kind of added. I don't think I have anything more, but going with Ashish and what Manisha also mentioned, I think as an ecosystem for our clients together as partners, I think we are constantly evolving and bringing in new, and that's what I called out earlier in my conversation about the full stride and our commitment to the cloud ecosystem. which is constantly evolving, and this will evolve very rapidly in the next few years at least, right? Not talking too much in future. Actually, we don't know what happens then, but at least in the near term, what we see, this is going to evolve. So these services which we are as partners bringing up with tools and processes, and from a design-led thinking, etc. I think that is many of our clients are leveraging that, and we're taking feedback from them and constantly evolving to be able to make it more apt from their requirement point of view. That's the only thing which I would kind of add, Gopi, over to that.
Excellent, excellent. So what I like to say is around we started this discussion. We started with the round robin, and it is, believe it or not, it is almost 1 hour is over. So we got some few minutes left out. So what I like to ask you that, is there anyone else I missed it out? You can speak up. Otherwise, I can request Manish, Ashish, and Anshul to give a overall summary of what is your how you can help us here, how we can help the industry, how we can help that concerns has been raised so far. So if you could add that, it would be great.
Gopi, if you look at manufacturing industry is in a transformation phase, right? The way we are buying right now will change, especially in the consumer appliances. We buy products now. Going forward, we won't buy products, we'll buy services. It will all go to an outcome-based model, right? This is where, and products are becoming smart, right? And they transmit data about themselves, right? And idea is about how can I monetize data? To monetize data, to have a differentiated new business models, right? Cloud plays a critical role. To take an example, we are working with a leading construction equipment manufacturer in India. We monitor all their equipments across South Asia from our center in Bangalore. We monitor health of the equipment. Based on how the health of the equipment is, we give predictive maintenance. And we plan maintenance in advance. So basically, rather than a customer buying entire machinery at capex mode, he pays for time he's done using the machine. And the end company is also getting services based on analytics is getting from the machine in terms of maintenance. The industry is transforming itself, right? Idea is to how to monetize data, cloud right platform, also how to differentiate customer experience, right? Now, if you look at social media is becoming very popular now. How do I convert content to commerce? If someone is coming to my Instagram page, how do I make it a buyer? So entire having a different customer experience, customer 360, cloud is the right platform to go. So I think cloud journey is inevitable, right? Because of the kind of scenarios we're talking about. Manisha?
Yeah, so I think a lot of great insights today. And I think all the challenges that you highlighted, I'll probably make one statement that Google, not a lot of people realize quickly, but Google is a manufacturing company as well, right? So we do manufacture our Pixels, our Chromebooks, and our own data center equipment and components. So to a large extent, we know the challenges of manufacturing companies, and we have solved those challenges for ourselves. And I think the interesting thing is at Google, we eat our own dog food, before we launch it to any customer. So the reality is that everything that we are offering now to our customers is tried and tested for our own businesses, right? Additionally, our uniqueness of owning our own network. We own our data centers, we build our own custom servers, which offers the highest level of security and lowest latency to the customer. So I think if all those infrastructure headaches can be taken away from you, and you can probably focus more on innovating for your business. And like I think many of you said that moving to cloud is not about just lifting and shifting, because then we are only moving your technology debt from point A to point B. That's not the idea. The idea is really modernizing, right? And modernization requires you to innovate, requires you to think about how do you become more agile. I think I don't have to repeat, many of you have mentioned that. How do you become more agile? How quickly you can launch your products in the market? How quickly you can release the updates? Tesla has done that beautifully, right? So they don't sell a car, they sell the same hardware to everyone, and then customers over the lifetime of the car can unlock new features by paying more, right? So instead of selling a product, how can you sell an intelligent product? So I think what we are really recommending is that probably you can focus more on building intelligent products and leave everything else about managing the infrastructure and providing those underlying services which can help you build those AI based innovative models to us and to partners like Wipro and Google. So I think I believe with that we have a very powerful combination, and we have solved some of the toughest challenges of this industry, whether that's building the factories of the future, or maybe achieving supply chain optimizations, or building intelligent products, thereby building new business models thereof, right? So I think that's what I feel. We have a huge opportunity together in this space.
Absolutely right, Manisha, what you said in terms of the opportunities. Example, we are working with Google for Adani Group in adopting cloud in a very significant way. And it's not just about adopting the cloud aspect, it is about using the core technology and then evolve the businesses, given that there are so many different types of businesses Adani Group actually has, as an example. And the vision is to kind of look at it and how to integrate. So I'm sure there'll be much more things which internally they would be wanting to do. But once the core platforms are set up, and we talked about how the technology is adopting and innovation, right? One thing which we all have gone through from a IT life cycle, all of us on this call, is about keeping our technology up to date, right? An evergreen kind of an environment. We've always thought about it, right? But there are many CFOs out here, and every time the IT gets up and gets to the CFO organization for funding more and more to kind of keep up to the demand of the business and keep changing the technology. I think this is one way where with least amount of investments in future, the evergreening of the IT landscape can continue and kind of help. Another example I like to call about is it's a big retailer here in Australia. It's called Woolworths. They are the largest retailer with a $50 billion company. And in the last few months, because of the pandemic, Sydney and Melbourne, many of the cities have been under severe lockdown, under literally kind of curfew for months and months together. And they have changed the way they operate as a retailer, right? The country, Australia as a country, is huge, less populated, but it's huge in terms of its size and its reach for its consumers to get the basic set of services, unlike India. And they have adopted the technology of Google on, especially around data analytics and looking at how to kind of help on their supply chain aspect of it, right? I remember a few years back, we've been working with them for many years. We used to talk about, and do a lot of checks before Christmas would kind of come in, or some of the festivals here, which is a big event for them or for any retailer, a grocery retailer, for example. But now every day is a Christmas, because that's the kind of demand which has got up significantly to help the citizens out in the country. And the same thing happening if you see many of the e-commerce systems in India, in terms of how the consumers are actually taking, and especially in the pandemic time. So I think where we are heading up and developing these solutions, we could work with the industry leaders like yourself. And thanks for today's some views. I think definitely helps us. I'm hoping it has helped some of you, just sharing the thoughts and comparing notes in terms of how this can evolve. And as a partner ecosystem, we are wanting to help and work with you and bring this solution. So sorry, it was a long comment, Gopi, but couldn't resist some of the other examples which came to my mind just while many of you were speaking.
Excellent. Thank you, sirs, and thank you, everyone. And it's a pleasure. And it's a very quick thing is to summarize. Like Deepak very clearly talk about, how much is important the cultural. I believe it's very important, critical point. And Rajesh sir talk about tangible, intangible things, and Manish talk about how fast and agile is important. And everyone made a point very clear. And Sunil sir talk about how we can balance it out. It doesn't matter. Don't just look at the manufacturing as a different animal. It is all are same, just the names are different. So I believe that it's a wonderful point, but at the same time, one size may not fit for everyone. But at the same time, what we understand from Ashish, Anshul, and Manisha is it's customizable. We know your pain, so we can give you what you want. So it's not like just a one size. So that's the overall understanding. I believe it's important to have a right partner, right resources, because normally in industry we used to hear only one story. We are not getting right resources. So we are, that's one of the complaint, including in everywhere. So I believe the same thing is applicable to partner also, because it's important to have a right partner for any engagement. So happy to discuss, and it's a pleasure to talk to everyone and get the insight of it. I believe it will benefit everyone. Thank you all, and have a great evening, and have a great day.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks to everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you, Gopi, for taking this ownership and driving this to the call. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
Thank you all.
Thank you so
You're being wonderful, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.